Hey guys, this is Jody with the Whiskey Rebellion Barcast. I'm super excited. This is what we're going to do. Not only we're going to let you have an opportunity to meet one of the cast members with Chuck here, but Chuck and I are going to discuss. I picked 5. There could be a litany of them, but I picked 5 bourbons that I think are overhyped or overpriced. In most cases, both, but no, and he did the same. But what we want to do is I want to start this show with saying, hey, look, Chuck, you came to us actually through Billy, I believe, in Cafe 305. Mm-hmm. And then all of a sudden, boom, I had a present of dog shampoo at my front door, and I was super excited about it. Mm-hmm. And next, by the way, aka dog shampoo was Eagle Rare store pick.
Yes, so, it was. Yeah,
from Maryland, and so I was super excited. And he got onto the show. He's been a fixture. So, and obviously from some of the things, I mean, hell, he left out for Santa, the big guy, Pappy. So you obviously know a little bit about bourbon. So can you tell us a little bit about yourself? What brought you to the community and stuff like that? And like, what do you love about it? What do you like about this show? What do you like about drinking bourbon and et cetera, et cetera?
Well, thanks for having me. Cheers.
Haven't poured anything yet. I need to do that, but you go ahead.
And basically I got started in the bourbon world through a buddy of mine, turned me on to Jim Beam Black. And at that point, it was aged, I believe it was 8 years at the time. I won't go into the year that I was introduced to it, but it was many, many years ago. And since then, I've basically expanded my collection, if you will, or bottles that I drink, I should say, or both, to a very large collection, which many of them are open. I try to keep it to about 20, 25 bottles that are open at a time. And then I start to have to kill some of them off because, you don't want them to sit around forever and ever. But as far as
get mine to David.
What's that?
If there's something that's just, I just can't get through, I go ahead and just give it to David.
Yeah. I have a few of those that I still have to get through. And I don't want to mix them because of, the price point and everything. And of course, that's, different story for a different day, I guess. But I'm in the fire protection field investigator, or I was, I should say. Now I'm in the special hazards field of foam fire protection. Basically in the manufacturing process, I work for the largest manufacturer in the world in the fire protection business, and love every day of it. Get to travel the world, visit a lot of really neat places, buy a lot of bourbon, Japanese bourbon, what have you, from other countries, of course, wherever I may go, whether it be Hong Kong, Japan, within the United States, Hawaii. And that's it about me.
Nice. Well, again, I truly appreciate it. You obviously have a, it's been kind of a joke before. You're like Baskin Robbins. You can definitely pick out a litany of notes, smelling notes from a bourbon. You're definitely a connoisseur of that aspect, and really opening up the entire community to be able to pick up more. Like, just watching you do it, sometimes I pick up different things. But hey, listen, I wanted to hear. We're going to start one-on-one. I'm going to let you go first because you're the guest today, even though we're on the same show. I'm going to let you go first of the either or both. Your overhyped or overpriced bourbon. And then I'm going to follow it up. We'll go back and forth, and you can tell us a little bit about it, what you think makes it that way, and so on and so on.
Okay. Most of mine are overhyped as well as overpriced. And we should just keep in mind that, these are my opinions, and I don't want to ruffle any feathers because I know there are some people out there that really enjoy these. And I'm not saying they're bad at all. I'm just saying that they're overpriced and overhyped. First on the list is the Orphan barrels, produced by Diageo. These were basically barrels that Diageo had left over They couldn't sell. And the marketing, I guess, decided to turn them into a product, the orphans, if you will, and put them in, really fancy looking bottles. And that's my first issue. Beautiful bottles, great graphics. They really went all out on these bottles. Like look at Copper Tongue, for example. Copper Tongue, 16-year-old Dickel, which may be a problem for many people out there, a Dickel product, because first of all, these were orphan barrels from Diageo. Now we're using Dickel juice, if you will, not one of those terms that I really enjoy using.
Dickel juice.
Yes.
I can see why, but go ahead.
And, we're looking at $100 bottle and, $120 bottle MSRP. And for the product that you're getting, you're a Dickel product, without that bottle, buying a 16-year-old Dickel product in a Dickel bottle, you could probably get it for a lot less.
Now, when you're tasting the taste notes on it, does you pick up a lot of the Dickel signature taste that it has with the, everybody talks about the Dickel tickle and all of that stuff. Do you get all of that with it?
No,
because they talk about with Sweetens Cove. Like I didn't put Sweetens Cove on my list. Mm-hmm. I personally like Sweetens Cove. I think it's great. Okay. I do think it's overpriced.
Sure it is.
And it would definitely come in on this list for sure.
And that's a great example.
But it's allegedly it's Dickel, or suspected to be Dickel product sourced. And I don't taste the Dickel aftertaste that I normally get from, like Bottle and Bond, that they have, or the other, the one I gave to David a couple of weeks ago, the 15-year. Mm-hmm. I don't taste any of that. So, the natural signature taste that they have. So continue. I'm sorry.
I agree with that. And once you basically, and my thought about this is once you get past a certain year point, I can't remember what certain, basically age statement of Dickel, you start losing that. Some people say it's a mineral taste, like an orange Flintstones vitamin.
I can see
that. Others don't even get that, but it does have a very distinct taste, in my opinion. And the other issue with it is that a lot of people may have a problem with is the low proof point on it. I believe it's 89.8 proof for the Dickel product, the Copper Tongue. And if you're spending $100, $120, $130 on a bottle of Orphan Barrel at 89.8 proof, a lot of people are going to be turned off by that as well.
I agree with you 1,000%. A lot of these, this is where we would be different. We talked about this a little bit offline before we came on the show. I personally love the Orphan barrels, and I loathe George Dickel. I just do. All right. But because it's the same thing as Sweetens Cove, is I don't get the normal signature taste that they have in it. And people keep telling me, I'm like, I'd argue with this because I honestly don't, I just don't see it. Now, I would agree with you. The price point on it, overpriced, the puffery story that's associated with it and all of that, the marketing ploy, a lot of the stuff that we're going to talk about tonight, that's a lot of it for me is that it's why am I paying for your marketing? Because give me something that's good. And granted, taste is subjective, and these are our opinions. Of course, you can go onto Bourbon Junkie, see that they have videos like this, or the whiskey drum and all that, and they all have different things that they pick up as well, or ones that may not even be on this list. But for me, I could start with where everybody thinks I'm going to start, but I'm not. I'm actually going to start with this American Highway Reserve. All right. Price point on this is right around, I think MSRP is supposed to be $89. Most places here in Tennessee is about $99 to $109. Is it good? Yeah, it's solid. It's a solid bourbon. It's a solid $30 bourbon. It's a solid $30-$40 bourbon. I'll never buy another one of these.
What's the story behind that one?
All right. So yeah, the story. So they have, and that's the other thing too. It's only 96 proof. So it's not even a high proof for something that you think you're going to get, and I guess proof would also be relative as well, because I don't want to come across as that proof whore, because that's not true either. The story behind it is they partnered with other famous people, celebrities, and Brad Paisley being one of them. And I love Brad Paisley, all 4'4" of him. I'm just playing.
Is that real?
No, he's not very
okay.
tall. The only reason why I know what he looks like is I met him and his wife. Is her name Ashley or Jennifer? I can't remember, but she's of a sister pair that act in a bunch of Hallmark movies. But anyway, I met them at my son's soccer game. They were on their son was on my son's soccer team. All right.
Okay.
And he, super nice guy. Both of them are, well, she's not a guy, but both of them are really pleasant people and stuff like that. But he's not, the joke is he's so short. He's actually not that short. He's probably taller than me. He's probably 5'10", but he's between 5'8" and 5'10". We'll put it that way. I'm 5'9", allegedly. So, it kind of is what it is. But he, super nice guy. Both of them were pleasant people. Ashley, I think that's her name, Ashley. But anyway, the story on it is I believe, no, it's Kentucky straight bourbon. So it's not, who knows where it comes from. It's straight from Kentucky somewhere, Bardstown, Kentucky. I don't know that part, but the biggest aspect of it is they put the barrels in the back of a truck and drove them across the country. Kind of like the same story with Jefferson's. It could have easily made the list, and you could substitute that bottle right here. Because I think Jefferson's Oceans, and what I hate about it is all my guys on the everybody knows I'm a veteran, but all the guys on the veteran whiskey club, they're like, you got to get some Jefferson Oceans. And it's always the Navy guys. And I'm like, why? Because it's been on a ship. I'm like, that's a stupid story. I mean, I get it. It's not, they only did that for the last 10 months of it. They put it, on a ship just so it can get a little bit of the tasting. And it makes both of those ideas make great sense. You're moving around. So where a barrel may only get 30% touch of the whiskey while it's resting, while it's aging and stuff, sloshing around, you're going to definitely pick up different points. So I love the experimental ideas. I think it's great. The big thing, it's a good bourbon. I want to preface that it's forgettable though at the same time. And it's, to me, I'm paying for the marketing, and I don't like that. Coming from the business world, I totally see myself paying for marketing. So that's kind of my take on it. It is a good, I definitely don't want to turn anybody off of it. It is something good to definitely try, but I hope they kind of do like Booker's. Booker's shot their prices up crazy for a time there, and then they found out no one was buying it and they brought them down. I hope they kind of do the same thing. After the initial buy, everybody buying in, they kind of bring the prices back down and go, okay, this is a real price point, and maybe that's where we'll find it. And then it may be perfect. If it was, for me, 30, I'm saying $30, $40. But if it was around $50, I wouldn't discourage anybody from getting it. If that makes sense.
It does. And I agree with you on the Bookers. That was actually going to be one of the items on my list, but it didn't make it. But the price point on Bookers, look at 2019, where they were on fire. They were really putting out some great products. You had some of the batches were excellent. And all of a sudden 2020 rolls around, raising the prices, and they were a hot mess. 2020, maybe one of the batches, I can't remember the name of it, but other than that, then of course now they're $120, but they didn't make my list. But one of them that did was Elijah Craig 18 year.
It's funny. I was almost going to use barrel proof, Elijah Craig barrel proof. I don't think it's worth the price point.
Okay.
But continue. It didn't make my list though.
It's a little overhyped. Just a little. The price point is around $169.
MSRP.
Yes.
Yeah, you're not going to find it there though. You may. I'm not going to find it there.
Okay. All right. What would you pay? What would it be, like $225 or so?
It'd be secondary.
Okay.
I've never seen it in the wild ever.
Oh, okay.
And I know every liquor store guy within probably 30 miles or more around my area. So I've never seen it in the wild. Never.
And in my opinion, it's very oaky. It's not very, it doesn't have much taste to it. It's very flat tasting.
Oh, wow.
Maybe a little tannic, I believe. But it's the price point. And I think there's better out there. I really enjoy, as a matter of fact, I do enjoy the Elijah Craig barrel proof.
Mm-hmm.
Not all of them, but usually the B and C, when they come out, like say, for example, the B and C from this year.
Yeah, 521. Yeah. That is pretty good.
Very good. And there was a point when Elijah Craig 18 year was a lot less than $150, $169.
Right.
But I mean, I know a lot of stores are putting it out there for $225, $250 at the moment. And people do buy it still.
Yeah.
I don't know if they open it and try it, or are they just, hanging on to it as a collector's item. I don't know.
Yeah. All right. So my number 2. Now I'm all about experimentation. I better watch how I say that. But the Woodford Reserve Masters Collection. First of all, again, I'm not a proof horse, so please don't take it that way. But every one of their bottles are at 90.4. All of the Master Collection. All right. I don't know if that's entirely true. I think the batch proof might be. No, I think the batch proof is still 90.
No, the last one was 127.
Yeah, you're right. Batch proof is 125.8. All right. So outside of the batch proofs, and I think it was 2016, 2015, their brandy cast, because that's freaking fantastic. Mm-hmm. Outside of that, everything they've ever done with these experimental ones are just horrible. Like I've had this one, I don't know. I don't even have any idea. I've had it like, I don't know, at least 4 to 5 years. And I just can't get it down. It's just like, nope, not going to happen. I think for me, if this was like a $40, $50 bottle, I don't know that I'd feel the same way that I do right now. I think
what a lot is the MSRP on that?
I've never found one under $110.
Okay.
I think they're right at most liquor stores here in Tennessee. All set the price around $109 or $119.99, somewhere in there. The batch proofs. I mean, obviously the batch proofs. I mean, it's going down. All right, mm-hmm. But I don't know what it is. I don't know. I just don't know what it is. It's kind of like honestly, it reminds me of those. What is it? Oak and something that has the staves in their bottles. It reminds me of those kind of, was it Eden and Oak or something like that? I forget what it's called.
Oak and Eden.
Maybe that's what it is.
Yeah, but something like that.
You can't shortchange us. All right. You can't. Mm-hmm. I mean, I don't even know why I even thought this would be good. Oak grain bourbon. I'm sorry, oat grain bourbon.
And it's an experiment to boot.
Yeah, and it's an experiment. I don't know what I was thinking. So that's partly my fault. I can go with that. All right. Mm-hmm. But I just think that I really think it's the price point more than anything. That though this specific one, I mean, obviously you can see it never came out in the real world. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. That was like, well, that was a bad experiment. But for the most part, I would say that it's just the price point on all of them. If it was consistently batch proof or like the brandy cast that they did, then yeah, keep it consistently at that price. I'm going to buy it every year. This one right here is what caused me never to buy one again. All right. And what's bad is I hear that one, and I think the biggest thing is just the price point. I think most people are like, look, I don't want to pay for your experiments. Just like I don't want to pay for marketing, I don't want to pay for your experiments.
Exactly.
You know? So give me something that's quality all the time. So that was my number 2 on the list. You're up.
Okay. I'm going to go with Whistle Pig Rye.
I could have definitely put Whistle Pig on here.
This doesn't go as far as all of them, because I do like the 12-year and the 10-year as well. But this is mainly, we're looking at basically a product that's Alberta premium.
Yeah.
It's Canadian whiskey.
Why should any Canadian whiskey be over $100?
Yeah, I agree with that. And the 12-year might be MGP. It's rumored to be.
I've heard that rumor too.
Then you have the special releases with the toppers on them, with the special releases.
The Boss
They
Hoss.
range, the Boss Hoss,
Hog,
the Boss Hog,
or whatever it's called.
Scientologist. And there's
Scientologist. That's funny.
I believe that's what it's called. Yeah, it's something.
I have no idea.
I can't remember, but it sounds good.
I have several Whistle Pigs and I hate them all. So, I mean.
Yeah. But the price points on these things are
ridiculous.
We're talking $550, $500 to $575 for, like, say, the Boss Hog, Whistle Pig 8, whatever that would, La Palalu, I believe the name of it is, the new one. You're looking at $575. Basically the marketing basically just hype these things up to where, basically they've priced them to the point of secondary already. They're already at that point. So if you want to flip them on secondary, don't bother, because, that's where they're at.
Yeah. That's because no one understands paying over $100 for Canadian whiskey.
And I think it's just for basically the ultra rich, to have something, that's going to cost you some extra money.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I just don't see I just don't see the premise behind all that. It's not a premium product to me.
Well, I agree. You're not going to get an argument from me on that. I mean, I didn't think of them because I just hate them. And that's not an opinion of mine. That's true. I'm just being honest.
And it's not better than any of the other ryes out there, I don't think. But that price point
4-year is about the most solid rye on the market.
I agree with that.
I don't even understand why people pay outlandish money for, what is it, the 9-year, 8-year, whatever it is, the
8-year
purple top. I'm like, which is MGP too. And I'm like, I don't even understand that. That doesn't make sense to me. So, but that we're getting off topic, and I'm gonna, before I piss anybody off with the Willet, I'd rather go ahead and just piss them off now. So my third one is the Old Forester Birthday bourbon. This is horrible. All right. It looks like I've drank a lot of it. You would be wrong. I've used that on steaks. I think I poured some in my Infinity bottle and then poured my Infinity bottle out because it messed up all the taste in it. I don't understand this. I don't understand why everybody's like, oh, you got to have, and here's the thing. I love Old Forester. I really do. I loathe this. This is horrible. Horrible for me. So I think this is overhyped, overpriced. And this is from 2000. I think, what did we look at it earlier? 2017. And I do have a Blackstone. So maybe that's the reason why there's so much out of it, because I use it to cook with. But I just think it's just horrible. And that's the other thing too. It's only a 96 proof as well. Again, I don't want to sound like a proof whore, but if I'm paying for premium bourbon, I want it to have a little bit more bite to it. I want it to be at least over 100, maybe a 110 or something like that. So if you need to send hate mail, it's David Papayan at facebook.com. All right. Just DM directly. He answers all my hate mail. Anyway, you're up, bro.
So my next is what you had mentioned already, which is the Willet Purple Tops. I know that's going to raise some eyebrows, and a lot of people are going to be angry at this, but it's very unaccessible. It's decent, but we're looking at what 12 to 14-year-old Willet coming in at what $2,000, $2,500.
But I have heard that it's MGP sourced.
Yes, I believe that you're right. Yes, I believe. Yeah, sorry about that. It's non-chill filtered, barrel proof. Look at the 8-year. 8-year is non-chill filtered, barrel proof, and I believe the price point on that is around $400. I mean, come on. We're looking at, you have Eagle Rare out there, 10-year. What is that? $39.99.
Well, one's a bourbon, one's rye, but I'm with you.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
I mean, you're still going to get past the I'm sorry. I think it is a 4-year, but the green top. I think the green top's the best.
Oh yeah, that's a 4-year. Yeah, that's about $59.
Yeah, and that thing is freaking solid. I have 2 of them. I have one that's open right here somewhere. Yeah, right here. And I love it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I have one.
Yeah, and I have one. Go ahead.
Okay. It's not accessible. Mm-hmm. The purple tops, I mean, not the green tops. They're a pretty, they're available, but not as much. But the purple tops are like, they're non-existent unless you go to the distilleries or you have a certain place where you can get them.
Or on the secondary.
Yeah, or in the secondary, which is you're going to pay through the nose on those.
And you're going to pay a mortgage payment.
Oh, at least.
Yeah.
Yeah. They've basically they've matched their price point to the market demand is what they've done.
Mm-hmm.
And it's basically just you have to go to the secondary market for it now. And of course that could cause the retail prices to rise the way they're doing it, but I guess they don't have a problem with this. They're very good, the majority of them. I'm not saying it's bad product, but it's just way overpriced. The hype is unreal on the Willet purple tops.
Yeah, I think it's because the scarcity of it. I think.
Yeah, I agree with you.
I think the demand. I think the demand is actually on that is probably driven more by the collectors over the drinkers.
Okay. Yeah, I agree with you there.
Because I know a lot of people who are really into collecting just outlandish bottles. And we're both in those communities and we see them and you can look at them and go, they're not buying this to drink. You just know it.
Yeah.
So that would be one perspective of it. So I don't know what I can't say I've ever had a desire to have the purple top. So I can't talk smack about it. I just have a hard time paying those type of prices for MGP.
I agree with that. Non-distiller producer. Yeah. You shouldn't have to.
Yeah. So that's the reason why I have a hard time with it. All right. So this next one's probably going to piss off a lot of people too. But it's true. All right. I couldn't do this show without talking about my favorite company, and that's Jack Daniels. Right. Look, I love Sinatra just as much as anybody else out there in the music world does. All right. I think he's awesome. I love the story, the puffery, the marketing, everything's associated with this bottle. I love. I hate Jack Daniels. I think we all know that. Anybody that's followed the show for more than 7 seconds would know that. All right. This bottle is, again, 90 proof. Now, granted, it's a 1 liter bottle, so that is a positive.
Yeah.
So you're getting more for your bang. But I think it's good. I think this is by far Jack Daniel's best product on the market. I've tried everything. I have not tried their new 10-year, but that's because I'm not going to pay a certain amount of money for Jack Daniels.
Mm-hmm.
I paid $150 something for this at Tarek's place up in at Elixir. All right, it's MSRP. I'll never own another bottle of this. I think this is and I know this would piss off a lot of people. I think this shouldn't be max for me, price point is $50 max. I'm talking about like absolute max on this. But honestly, I think it's a $30 to $40 bottle of bourbon. I really do.
Okay.
I just can't find myself going, this is great, because I don't. Do I think it's the greatest Jack Daniel's product? Yes, I do. All right. I'm sitting in a bath listening to Sinatra and just chilling, relaxing. Yeah, I'll take a glass of Sinatra. That kind of, I love the story with it.
Mm-hmm.
I don't believe any of it, but I do love the story. You know what I'm saying?
Sure.
And it makes you feel like you're connected to the artist. I dig that. So that's my last one on the list. Not my last one. I got one more, but that's the one that you guys all knew was going to be on here. I do think it's their best product ever put out by Jack Daniel's. But like I said, I will never own another one unless it's gifted to me, because I can't bring myself to ever pay anything over $100 again for some type of product like that. Does that make sense?
It does. Yeah, I concur with that. That whole, your sentiment on that. Because I think, for a 1 liter bottle, I might go $75 tops.
I'm with you on that. After some reconsidering, I might be able to be persuaded into $75, but it would be difficult because there's going to be a litany of other things I could purchase for $75.
Absolutely.
Do you have a fifth one?
I do. It may be the same fifth one you have.
Does it start with a B?
Yes, it does.
Is it this bottle right here?
Oh, absolutely. It's got the horsey on top.
Yeah. Well, we can both talk about it ad nauseum to each other about it.
So essentially, we have Blanton's. I think it's overvalued, especially when they're, in comparison to where there's more readily available bottles out there.
Mm-hmm.
Because Blanton's is extremely hard to get. At one point, this was going back 4 to 5 years ago. I would see Blanton's sitting on.
I'd buy it by the case.
Oh yeah, I would. Now I would, but sitting on the shelves, on like displayed on top of a barrel. You would have several bottles sitting there,
like they do with store picks.
Yep. Yeah, exactly. And they'd sit.
They get dust on.
And now, we're looking at what, 2018, maybe 2019 is when it really started picking up.
Right.
Maybe 17 at the earliest. And Blanton's was flying off the shelves. People were walking in the doors, whipping the door open. Hey, storekeeper, do you have Blanton's? Oh, okay, thanks, bye. Doesn't even walk in the door. But then you have guys that are, walking in. Hey, do you have any Blanton's? And this is what really gets me. I mean, it's getting such a, people are getting very angry at the storekeepers and the shopkeepers and the employees over why they don't have Blanton's, and they're these are grown men having temper tantrums in the store, why they can't get their hands on Blanton's. And I know you have some, and they're screaming, I know you have some in the back, get me one, because somebody saw it on the internet and said, Jimmy, your store has it. And I know you have it because somebody else showed a bottle and blah blah blah. And they just become total idiots about this stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just a shame that it's so overhyped for what it is. There's many better products out there for that $60 price point where it's at now.
$60. Nope, not here in Tennessee. It's at recently it's part of bundles and course and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. But individually by itself is $99 at most places. Now, I used to buy it. It was my bourbon of choice, my everyday drinker, for many, many years. And I did buy it by the case all the time. So when I go to the liquor store all the time, I just go ahead and just, drop $300 something and just buy the case, and move on. I don't even know if it was that much, but that was when it was what, $52 a bottle?
54, yeah.
Something like that.
Yeah.
And do I think it's good? I do. I think it's fantastic. Do I love
I
the
agree.
bottle? Do I love the bottle? Yes, the bottle is awesome. I love the horsey hits. I got a Blanton's barrel over there across from my bar. It has the horsey heads on top of that, and then I have the little half thing with the horse heads and all that. Sure. And then I have 2 more things of horse heads. I mean, I really like Blanton's. But do I think it's overpriced and overhyped? I do. Like, it's just like you said. One is it's become its own little cult. Like, it's the originator of the word tater, which I hate. You know,
yes, it is. Yeah,
that's what caused that. Was these people walking in doing exactly what you're talking about, going, first off, you don't have a relationship with your liquor store guy. That's a you issue. And you should never walk in there and go, hey, do you have this, whatever. Take the time, show them that you're interested. If you've never been in that store before, if you've never purchased anything, or you're just going there to look for Blanton's, buy something else first. Establish a relationship to where you can go, hey, I know the allocations were coming out. Do you guys happen to have anything that you don't have displayed? And 9 times out of 10, you're going to find out they do. And you can actually open up a conversation that way if it's a new place. Now, if it's a place that you've already established relationships, because like you and I have with different stores, we receive text messages or calls.
Yes, or phone calls.
Yeah. And we're en route, you know.
Yes.
They know we're buyers, they know what we're going to buy, and we're going to pick it up. You know, I used to, up until last year, I used to get Blanton's still by the case at least twice a year or so. And because I loved it as an everyday drinker. I mean, it was one of those staples in my home. But now I just can't bring myself to do that anymore. It's just, to me, it seems like I still have plenty of them, but I'm just like, it's everybody on secondary. You see how much they're going for. They're always $100 or more. And the only one I believe that's, you know, I love the straight from the barrel. Don't get me wrong. If you haven't had a Blanton straight from the barrel, it is fantastic. But if you really want to be upset at the at Buffalo Trace, why don't you ask them why didn't they give us the gold tops? Because that is the best one they put out. You know, that 105 is fantastic. All right. It's solid. It's good. Do I think it's worth $200? No. Do I think it's worth, you know, if you were to see one on a shelf for $100? Yeah, buy it. If you can buy its brother and its cousin too, do it.
Sure.
All right. And if you come across the straight from the barrel, yeah, do I think those are great? I do. I think they're fantastic. And they are good, but do you need more than one of those, in my opinion? No, I don't think so. So that's my take on it. Chuck, I really do appreciate you taking the time to do this with me today. And I'm glad we got the opportunity to let the audience know a little bit more about you and who you are and what you're all about.
Yeah, thanks. I really enjoyed it. And, you know, I agree with you on the fact that you really have to make relationships. That really goes a long way in today's, the way, you know, the environment. Well, as far as, you know, getting what you're looking for.
Do you guys have, I don't know how it is up in Maryland, but do you guys, is it state controlled?
No.
All right. So store keeps can essentially charge whatever they want.
Yeah, they can have a museum in there with the glass case that, you know, has 3 times secondary if they feel like it.
Yeah. And we're seeing that. I mean, when I was up in Bardstown, I went to this, I forget the name of the place, but it's, I can tell you how to get there. It's right off the square next to the laundry mat. Okay. It's right. Like, it looks like a little trashy liquor store. Had everything that you could ever imagine you wanted was in there.
Wow.
It had, you know, all of the different variants of Weller, to include, you know, the WLW, had, you know, GTSs, both senior and juniors. It had Eagle Rare, but it had them at everything in there, except for the FAEs were price. They were at the acceptable price point and stuff like that. But everything it had in there was secondary pricing. All of it was.
Oh, wow.
And they even had one of the Japanese bottles of Blanton's, which I've always wanted because they don't have one. But I'm not paying crazy secondary pricing for an 80 proof bottle.
Right.
I mean, that's just ridiculous, you know?
Yeah, I think there's a red and a black.
Yeah, there is. There's a red and black. Yeah. But they're both 80 proof. And it's just like and I think the black is actually based off of the Special Reserve, which is also an 80 proof. And, the Special Reserve Blanton's the green label. And you're sitting there going, like, I'm not going to pay these crazy. And that guy, of course, had all of them. And I was like,
yeah. And I think they're really looking, I think secondaries, what, like 250 to 275, maybe.
The black ones, both the Japanese versions I've seen here in the Middle Tennessee secondary market, over $400.
Oh, wow. Okay. It's been a while since I've.
But I don't look for those either.
Yeah, I don't either. Yeah.
I don't. If I don't really look at much in the secondary market. Every now and then I'll pull the trigger on something that I want. But that's even rare by itself. Like, okay. I'll see something that maybe somebody's looking for. I'm like, okay, I've looked at every one of my stores. And yes, I understand. I went the next day and found exactly what I was looking for at my store, but I didn't think I was going to. And so I knew I wanted to get a gift for my buddy. And so I will go into the secondary on those type of aspects. But man, I tell you what, the relationships you build with your store owners can save you a ton of money.
Yeah,
you're going to spend a lot of money, but here's the other thing too. If you say you're going to buy something, buy it. Don't have them call you and go, yeah, I'm gonna have to pass on it.
No, I agree with that. Don't do that. Just buy it.
Yeah, just buy it.
And if they have store picks, buy the store picks.
Yep, buy the store picks. You're absolutely right, because that's one of the ways they generate money. So do that. And I'll be honest with you, that's been really tough for me on some of the occasions of places around, because my favorite store picks that I've come across outside of Eagle Rare, which are becoming much more scarce, are the Maker's Marks, the private selections and stuff like that. The store picks, those are, oh my God, those are dynamite. They are awesome. But I have a hard time with like the Four Roses store picks. I'm like, oh my God, dude, were you guys blind when you guys done this? That's not good,
Yeah.
Did you let your dog pick this? I don't know what happened here, because it's not very good. So I've come across those. And then of course, a lot of times we'll do some breakthrough bourbons or breakthrough ryes that are store picks, and I would encourage people to purchase those as well. But listen, man, this has been longer than a show, so it's always fun, always great, guys. Tune into the channel. This will be posted this week, and as always, stay safe, be responsible.
Cheers.
What's your name? What? What is your name? Tony! Fuck you, Tony!